Peace and love, family. Welcome again to U.S. Political Prisoners and You, brought to you by the powerful station on YouTube, Black Power Media. If you have not subscribed to Black Power Media, please do so. We got to secure our own narrative. We got to make sure that we control uh, our story, right? So that our people understand what's going on and what we need to do about what's happening. We either have a problem with what's happening or we don't, right? Because our actions dictate what our position truly is. So I'm with my brother Tariq, and he gonna go on in a minute. But I just want to let everybody know what's going on this Saturday, August 22nd, from 1 to 5 in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. 406 Utica is the place to be from 1 to 5. We're gonna have the annual CURBFEST. A lot of work was put into getting this done. So, I'm proud to be a part of that work. I was part of the outreach committee. You had the fundraiser committee, you had the program committee, and we all came together. We had meetings, we had discussion, we threw ideas out there, and we all understood that, we might not agree on everything, but we are united on one thing, and that one thing is that Herb Fest must happen. Herb Fest for our political prisoners must happen. So I was just excited about that being done or being involved in that process because my position is that political prisoners should not die in prison. So I work cover a wide area in Crown Heights from Linden Boulevard all the way to Atlantic Avenue on Utica, and then in the residential areas we covered from Linden Boulevard to Park Place. I was able to meet a number of interesting people throughout this time, being at the train station and giving out the palm card. I had the banner out there said U.S. Don't let U.S. help political prisoners die in prison. That's not a common scene. So people who were conscious of who they are and conscious of the fact that we have a history of resistance did stop, did engage. I know one sister, she registered and she said, this is exactly what we need. And those are experiences that drive me and let me know the importance of CURBFest and the fact that this idea, this concept needs to be presented to our community. Our community needs to be reminded that nobody gets nowhere without the sacrifice of others. So that's what CURBFest is about. It's about us understanding that we have a responsibility as a community, as a collective, to take a definitive position when it comes to our political prisoner. And that's what we're going to be doing this Saturday. So if you're in the area, please be a part of it on whatever level, right? Uh, Stay for a while. If you can't stay the whole 3 hours, just stay for 3 minutes, stay for 30 minutes. And make sure if you have a child, bring your child. Let your child know that this is the example of fighting back. This is that idea of being correct, of making sure that and the people around you know that you are serious when it comes to your people's right to self-determination, the right to control our own destiny, the right to exist, right? These are serious ideas that need to be taken seriously. And the only way we can express how serious we are about these ideas is what we do, the actions that we take. Purpose is about actions. It's about collective responsibility, collective engagement, having discussions about what needs to be done and why it should be done. A lot of people hear about sacrifices and hear about certain people like Martin Luther King, but they don't know about Sekou Odinga. They don't know about his contributions to our right to self-determination, his work with the Black Panther Party, his work with the Black Liberation Army, his role in the liberation of Assata Shakur, a number of things. I was fortunate enough to be around him to have those conversations about life, about his love for his people, about him growing up in South Jamaica, Queens, which sparked me to talk to people about having CURBFest there, and that's something that we were able to do a couple of years ago, and that left a mark on the community. Right, you have this community engagement. You have this outreach campaign that is going to the community, that's giving them a palm card that talks about political prisoners. And while I'm on this palm card, this specific palm card that has the QR code where you can donate and register on the back of it, it gives us the definition of a political prisoner, gives us the definition of prisoner of war. And our people is given this because if they were unaware about political prisoners and unaware of political prisoners of war, now they have the opportunity to be enlightened, to be conscious about this concept, and now when they see it, they have a different relationship to it. So, political prisoner, a person who is held in confinement because of their support for people struggling for freedom from an oppressive government or against its oppressive policies, or participating in an organization involved in such a freedom struggle. Prisoner of war, a national combatant of an oppressed nation held in confinement by the oppressor nation because of their participation in an organization fighting for self-determination, independence, or national liberation from the oppressor nation, or for support of or identity with that struggle. So here you have both definitions. And now I'm going to get into the conversation with my brother, my co-host, Tariq, former political prisoner, a member of the Black Liberation Army, and member of the Black Panther Party. I just want to give him the first question. And what is the relationship between the people and its political prisoners?
First, let me start out by saying peace and love, family. I'm very glad that you are with us during this discussion. That means that you're very much a part of the revolutionary family. Uh, in response to the first question, let me just say this also. As Frank said, I am a Black Panther. I'm a former member of the Black Liberation Army. I spent 17 years in numerous American death camp prisons as a political prisoner of war. So I want to be clear about that. Frank has asked the question, what is the relationship between the people and its political prisoners? That's the question number one. And I believe that the people should have like a really a threefold relationship. One is that the people should feel that they have a personal relationship with political prisoners. They should feel that political prisoners are their brothers or their sisters or their fathers or their mothers. And that is a personal relationship that they should have with political prisoners. But also they should have a political relationship in terms of Black people desiring to untether themselves from the United States and for us to be on our own and to pursue our own political course so that the people should subscribe to this belief that we are a separate nation from the United States and that the United States must go their own way and we must go our own way. And then I think the people should have a moral regard for political prisoners because political prisoners are doing the right thing. They're not trying to do the right thing. They're doing the right thing. We're trying to totally be successful at having done the right thing. And the people, the community should feel a moral relationship with political prisoners because we are on the right course. And the government, the United States government, the capitalist government, they are a group of gangsters. They are the original gangsters, and they have been the gangsters down through the years. And when we look at their history, we see they have a history of having been gangbusters and having committed genocide and having, when they go to other nations, and especially today, the United States has 700 military outposts around the world. And that is to say that they have 700 guns to people's head to make them do what the United States wants them to do. And that's where you get the term go to a government, they say, we want this particular thing from your country. We want this particular resource from your country and nothing else. And they're telling the people that they should do nothing else. And so that is a moral relationship because that is indicative of the United States pursuing gangster objectives. And our people should know that. And our people should know that our political prisoners are doing the morally correct thing in terms of opposing the United States and opposing being a part of a government that has 700 military bases around the world. And as I say, they have 700 outposts where the government of the United States has guns to people's heads, making them do what the United States government wants them to do. our political prisoners are opposed to that, and we have taken the moral high ground in respect to that. And so our community want to have this type of relationship, outwardly know that the political prisoners are pursuing the right and the moral course.
Absolutely. So, when I hear you speaking and about the moral cause and the right cause, I think about war, right? I think about us being in a consistent war for centuries now regarding our right to self-determination. And in war, you're going to have casualties. You have martyrs, you have political prisoners, captured freedom fighters. So we have a responsibility when we identify our current position regarding our right to self-determination and our fight for it, that those people are going to be captured, those people are going to be killed, tortured, and how do we relate to that, right? We either are against that or we are for it, right? And our actions are an expression of that. And I would say that, our relationship with the political prisoner has to be very clear. We have to be very certain about people who are on our side. Our political prisoners are on our side. They are on the front lines of this war for our right to self-determination, and they're willing to give up their lives and their so-called freedom up for that. And they have been captured, they are in prison, and now it's up to us. Where do we stand with them? Are we going to advocate for their freedom, or are we just going to be on the sideline and just talk about them just as a casual engagement, or are we going to be a part of some serious organized action? We have to make those personal and political decisions, obviously. But CURBFEST puts us in a position to be very clear about that. So I appreciate your answer. I appreciate you always educating me and the viewers further around different concepts so that as they finish watching this episode, now they have their own homework. They have ideas that they can really dig deeper into and make some decisions about what they're going to do regarding the information or the knowledge that they've been given. So, what is your earliest memory of CURBFEST for political prisoners?
I remember I remember it as if it was yesterday. I'm sitting here thinking about it now, and my first Curb Fest occurred in Philadelphia, and I remember being in Philadelphia, and we was giving out the palm cards and having discussions with people, letting them know that the whole gathering was about informing the community that there were political prisoners who were still in jail, and that uh, we want to let them know all about the political prisoners. And so I know I got into an extended discussion with a sister who was telling me that her boyfriend or her husband had been in jail, and he had been framed up by the government. And that is to say, I remember that, and I was telling her this is one of the things that the political prisoners was fighting against, to remove us from having those experiences of being framed up. And her husband had actually been doing good community work, and I was letting her know that is why that he was targeted, and he was targeted because he was doing good and helping out the community, and the government don't want anyone to help out the community. Anybody who's having a relationship with four or more people, they want them to be doing, contributed to driving the other three or four people that they're in contact with, driving them insane. And if they're not doing that, the government would, I was explaining to the sister that the government would target those persons to do a counterintelligence operation against. And I was explaining to her that that is what had happened to her husband. And I was also explaining to her that is one of the reasons why the political prisoners were fighting against the capitalist system, because the capitalist system, as a rule, target persons who are doing things to save the race, and that is why her husband had been set up and up, uh, framed up, and I think he was doing a life sentence undeservingly, and he was not a criminal. He was doing things to help out the community, and I explained to her that not only do they do that, when I was young, I was telling her that I was one of the victims of the government operations in terms of the government felt that persons like myself should be broken. Black young men should be broken who could grow up and join the fight against the government. The government was trying to break us at a very young age so that we would not be available to fight on the side of the people. And that is one of the operations that the government was carrying out. I said I thought it was unfortunate that her husband had been in jail for as long as he had, and I complimented her for having stuck with her husband for that long, and complimented her for intending to continue to stick with her husband and to be available on his side. And I let her know that political prisoners are also persons who were doing good for the community, and so they deserve support also. And I'm sure let her know that I'm sure that if her husband and a political prisoner in the same jail, they would be in contact and they would join together to work against the government of the United States. But that is my earliest remembrance of CURBFEST occurred some years ago, and it occurred in Philadelphia. So it was a good experience interacting with the community, let the community know that there is a category of persons known as political prisoners who were fighting back in the war that the government was waging against us. So that's my earliest experiences was, as I said, in Philadelphia.
Yes, thank you, brother. My earliest experience, memories on Fest was a couple of years ago. Was with Sekou Dinga. He had called me and asked for assistance with Fest. I arrived early, something that I take pride in. Arriving early, arriving on time, because I never like to be late for anything. Something about that just throws my day off entirely. So I was there. I helped prepare with preparations, putting up the banner, and also I was operating the table. I remember him just giving credit to a number of people for their participation and their assistance and their involvement with CURBFEST. And he didn't name me. And then I guess it bothered him because he said later on to me that he should have said my name. But just by him looking at me with that look that he would give me occasionally, it was a look saying that he appreciated what I was doing, and that was enough for me. So that memory means a lot to me, right? Because he's an ancestor now, and I take that inside me to motivate me when things are not going the way I would like them to go in terms of organizing work. I think about people like him and the sacrifice that he made, and the fact that he put all so much on the line. He put it all on the line for his people. He expressed love as sharply as he could, and when I show gratitude and appreciation for that, I know that it has to be expressed in my work, in my deeds, because as I said before, as Mutulu Shakur has said, love is not what you say, love is what you do. And Curb Fest is an expression of love. So that is my earliest memory on Curb Fest. Um, my next question on my beloved comrade is what should a community why should a community support Curb Fest for political prisoners?
Because our political prisoners know what the United States government is doing to Black people. The political prisoners, let me repeat this, the political prisoners know what the government is doing to Black people. And the government of the United States is doing worse than what the Nazis did against, almost worse or equally as bad as what the Nazi party did to the Jews in Germany, and that is the government and is training our people. This is what our political prisoners know. Our political prisoners know that the government intends to kill every Black man, woman, and child. And our political prisoners know that the government is training our people to continuously eat. One of the methods of killing our people is to train our people to constantly eat, continuously eat, so that we would develop high blood pressure, diabetes, have heart attacks, and that sort of thing. And our political prisoners know that the government is deliberately doing this to our people, and they know that the government of our political prisoners know that the government of the United States, another method they intend to use to kill off our people is to make our people train their own self, not train someone else, train their own self to commit suicide. And so, by forcing our people to do things that will incline them to commit suicide, they are really messing up a lot of people along the way who haven't committed suicide. And I'm sure that is what George Jackson meant by saving people who could be saved. So our political prisoners know that the two methods that are widely used by the United States government to kill off our people is to train our people to constantly eat so that they will get high blood pressure and they will have heart attacks and they will develop diabetes. And as you know, the diabetic medications depend on refrigeration and electricity, so that when electricity cut off, if your medication is in the refrigerator, you could die. And just by cutting off the electricity, they could kill a lot of people, just like dropping a bomb on people in a neighborhood. And so that is one of the methods that the government is using to train our people to constantly eat and to train our people to force them to train their own self to commit suicide. And this is what the government is doing. This is what the other leadership is not telling our people, that this is what the government is doing. Perhaps the other leadership don't know that this is what the government is doing. Uh, they don't know that our people are being trained to think of themselves as animals, to have low self-esteem, and that will incline them to commit suicide. Like for instance, there's a woman who was a newscaster. Her name was Brenda Blackman, and she said one day on the news, this is what the news anchor person said. It seemed like I always get the animal stories. And that was the case. I used to watch her, and she always did get the animal stories. And that would mean that she would be doing a presentation, and they would show a picture of an animal next to her. And this is what the Nazis did to the German people to train them to kill the Jews. They would show animals, and then they would show Jews. And that is to train the people to arrive at the conclusion that the Jews were animals that should be killed. And then showing this black news anchor woman, and then showing the animal, and they always showed the animal when she was doing her presentation. And that was a training process that the government was using to train people to see an animal, then see black people, and ultimately down the road, the viewer will conclude that black people are animals that should be killed. This is what our political prisoners know about, and this is what our political prisoners are fighting to remove our people from harm's way, remove our people from a government of fascists. And you know, Mark Rubio and the other guy, the trillionaire guy, they went to Germany and encouraged the German people to elect the alternate right political party of Germany, to elect them into the government of Germany. And so that is a neo-Nazi party. And so that means to say that these things that I say that they are doing to kill off our people, this is what they're doing. They intend to kill off every black man, woman, and child. And our political prisoners were fighting to put a break on that. And that is what our people should know about. And that is why they should support political prisoners. That is to say, by supporting the political prisoners, we're saying that I want to live. I want to stop these nuts from harming us and harming our families and harming our children. That is what is going on. That is unfortunate, but that is what our freedom fighters know. And those are the things that our freedom fighters are fighting to put the brake on by severing the ties between the blacks and the capitalist government And our people should know this, and this is why they should support our political prisoners, because in doing that, you're saying you want to live and you want your families to live, and that is what political prisoners are fighting for.
Excellent. You said everything that I was thinking, right? So only thing I could add to that is an expression of unity on an idea, right? When we support our political prisoners, that's what we're saying. We're saying that we're united on the idea that we have political prisoners, that we have captured freedom fighters, that throughout the centuries of us, our captivity from Africa, and us standing against the oppressive government, the state, we took a position in saying that we had the right to control our own destiny, and our political prisoners stood with us, and then they stood on the front line for us. So just us having unity on that idea is the reason why we should support our political prisoners and we should support CURBFEST. Um, so my next question, my final question is, how can a community support CURBFEST for political prisoners?
Well, I think the community, one of the ways and one of the best ways the community can show support for our political prisoners is to come to a curb fest and interact with the persons out there, the revolutionaries out there, who can explain to the community the present situation that we are in. And the present situation is a singular situation. The persons who would be manning and womanizing the tables at the CURBFEST will explain to our people the present singular situation that our people are in, and that is that the government of the United States is going through a bad financial situation, and that situation is not going to be improved as it has been in the past. In the past, when America had financial downturns, they were able to eventually come out of it after a number of years. But the way out of the present singular financial situation that the government is in, the way out has been removed. And the way out is they had, in the past, when they had a financial downturn, they still had factories in the United States that were idle, that were brought back online. And more factories came back online, and that put the financial situation back on track. But now the persons who own factories have moved the factories overseas where they could stop paying the American worker $30 an hour, and they could pay overseas worker 30 cents an hour. And they have taken millions of jobs overseas, and those jobs are not available now. Those factories are not available now. The factories that used to be in Detroit by General Motors, those factories have been rebuilt in China and in Indonesia and Bangladesh and places like that. And so those factories no longer exist to be brought back online so that America can gradually climb out of the financial situation that it finds itself in. And so the people, when they come to the CURBFEST, they can interact with the persons who will be at the tables and giving them this information. And the people will know the situation that we are in, and they could acquire this information. And then once they would have acquired this information, this knowledge of the singular situation that the country is in, and especially that Black people are in, they can pass on this knowledge to other community members, and the community members will know that our political prisoners would have been in the process of acquiring information and passing it on to the community. And that is why the government targeted them for arrest and targeted them to detain them. And so that our people can acquire this knowledge and pass on this knowledge to our community. And once our community know what we're dealing with, I think that is the central problem. It's not that the United States has atom bombs and they have jet planes that all of that. It's not that. We don't even need atom bombs. We don't need jet planes. We need for our people to know what the United States is doing and know that we can win in the situation. And as I was pointing out to my brother here, we already have them. They talking about take back America because we are in 26 major United States cities. And if we stop work in those 26 cities, we will shut down America. We don't need guns. We don't need jet planes and atom bomb. We need information. We need to know what we are capable of. And we need to know that we need to move and behave a certain way. We need to know that we are Africans. We need to know that the United States government is carrying out genocide against us. We need to know that we are already in positions where we can make moves that will have desirable consequences, and the moves will incline the United States government to agree to what we would like for them to agree to let us separate from them and let us pursue our own political and economic course. And so, in answer to the third question, the community need to support uh, our political prisoners, and the way they can do it is by acquiring the knowledge that the people will be having at the different tables at the CURBFEST, and then taking this knowledge back to their family and their friends. And that's basically what we need is we need to know what we're dealing with and to know how we can deal with it. And we can be successful at dealing with it. And so that is how the people can support our political prisoners, is by acquiring knowledge and passing the knowledge on to family and friends.
Yes, thank you, my brother. So, we'll conclude this episode. As always, I appreciate your time. I know the value of it. Sacrifice so much for us, and just for you to continue to be here on the front line and advocating for the freedom of other political prisoners. Uh, I have extreme gratitude towards you. I would tell those who are viewing, if you're interested in supporting CURBFEST, I provided the QR code. Please scan the QR code and register. We want to make sure all those people who are coming, we have everybody accommodated. There's a question about food allergies. I think that's very important, so we know who is allergic to what. Also, we have a QR code to donate funds. If you're not able to come, or if you're able to come and donate funds, please do so. Organize other people to donate funds. You might just have $1 to donate. That's good. And if you got 5 other people to donate $1, then that's $5 that goes towards CURBFEST, right? And what those funds do is they help us to continue to carry on CURBFEST, but most importantly, it goes to the legal funds that's necessary for our political prisoners, right? Because this campaign, CURBFEST, is an awareness strategy, but we also need a freedom strategy. And the freedom strategy is the legal team. These lawyers need to get paid, and they're not cheap. And our awareness campaign works with that by raising awareness about our political prisoners, so we can have people come, get involved, and contribute, donate funds. With that being said, we'll conclude this episode. Please share with as many people as possible. Please subscribe to Black Power Media. It's very important, a powerful platform that is necessary for us to raise awareness about our social conditions and make some definitive decisions about what we need to do regarding that. So you know how we end. What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all. Eat right and exercise, and free them all.